Welcome back to Saving the Republic with Joe State, and presented by Grab Your Gear Network, where we speak to people who work hard every single day. Merit shop workers, trades workers, and hard workers. This show and this network is for you. Be sure you tune into the show Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We bring you guys the news that the actual news, the mainstream news, is not reporting. So if you want to find out and follow the stories that are actually going to affect your life, make sure you follow the show here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, again on Grab Your Gear YouTube. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram. And also, make sure you tune into our weekly long-form podcast with Joe Weasel and Jack Windsor, and our new docuseries dropping, Part 4, coming out very soon on the union hustle, exposing fraud within America's unions. Make sure you check all that great content out, again, on Grab Your Gear, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Now, with that being said, let's get into today's news. So, big news day. We are 22 days away from the most consequential election in American history. The leading story of today that you may have heard about, and that it's going to impact your life, because that's what we do here. We like to report on a story to open the show that is going to impact your life specifically, is the fact that Kamala Harris, the anointed nominee of the Democrat Party, has finally decided to sit down and do an interview with somebody that she's not buddy-buddy with, best friends with. Okay? And we're going to get into the reason why this will impact your life in a few minutes. But the main thing I want to focus on is I want to ask you as a voter, because the last two shows we've talked about the absolute importance, the critical responsibility that you have as a viewer to vote in this election. Do you want to vote for somebody who feels like they have to earn your vote? Do you want to vote for somebody who's willing to take questions? Should the president of the United States be able to take questions and do an interview with somebody they don't necessarily agree with on everything? Because this is the first time Kamala Harris is doing it. The first time she's ever doing it. I mean, she had an interview with 60 Minutes that was somewhat difficult, somewhat combative, I guess you could say, where they somewhat fact-checked her the first time and they had to edit the interview out. But this is the very first time this is happening. And so I'm going to pull up the story here so you guys can see it. But breaking news, Vice President Kamala Harris is sitting down with Fox News anchor Bret Baier on Wednesday for the first interview on Fox News. Bret Baier will conduct an interview with Democratic presidential candidate Vice President Kamala Harris in the battleground state of Pennsylvania on Wednesday the 16th, October 16th. This week's appearance marks her first formal sit-down interview on the network ever. Wow. And will air during a special report with Bret Baier at 6 p.m. on October 16th. Okay, so like I said, the very first interview she's ever done with Fox News. I didn't even know that. It was her very first time she's ever been on Fox. But why is she doing this? The reason Kamala is doing this, and the reason you need to care about it, is because she is starting to see the writing on the wall. She's starting to see what many are seeing in this American electorate, this electoral map breakdown. As you all can see here, Polymarket, which is not a traditional pollster. This is a betting market, so this is real money. This is where money is going to bet on the outcome of the election. 55% of bettors to 44% are choosing Trump over Harris. An 11-point lead for Trump is the largest lead he's had since Kamala entered the race. This is happening because Pennsylvania is sitting at a 55% chance for Trump. Michigan and Wisconsin are all favored in Trump's category. Now, the last show I made was on the idea that we cannot get complacent, okay? You as the voter cannot get complacent. You can't expect that this is all going to work out and that Trump's going to win the election and everything is going to be fine. You have to get out and vote. And by the way, tell somebody else you know to vote, all right? Even if you live in a state like I live in, Ohio. You know, Ohio is arguably deeply red right now, maybe plus 10 for Trump. But even if you live in this state, you still need to get out and vote. November 5th, you can vote early right now, but we all need to get out and do our part and vote. One candidate wants to earn your vote, the other one does not. In fact, today is Columbus Day, Monday, October 14th, and let's check out what Kamala Harris wants to do to Columbus Day.
So I'm wondering, would you support efforts on a federal level to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, and why does that matter so much?
Sure, yeah. And why it matters is, to your very point, we have to remember history. And this question, I think, really is connected to the last question about our morals and our compass and our goals and our aspirations. We have to remember our history. Uncomfortable, to your point about truths, though it may make us.
Okay, so Kamala.
4.
Right here.
Every October, the United States has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of the Americas. But that is not the whole story. That has never been the whole story.
So Kamala is in this category of people that, guys, when I designed my show set, I purposefully included the founding fathers over my shoulder. All right. Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, George Washington. I included these men of renown because they were the trailblazers. They set forth Western civilization, which has brought us the most prosperity arguably ever seen in the history of humanity. That's why I chose these people. Were they perfect? No. Matter of fact, they're very flawed. What I believe in, the Bible says, no man is good but God. No man is good. That's what Jesus said. So the idea that we're going to erase history, we are going to trample upon hundreds of years of history of how this nation, of how this really continent was discovered and was civilized, because of course we had native tribes here who had not set up a society. They had not set up all of the structures that would indicate and that would create a prosperous and a responsible society. Now, things did happen, of course, that were immoral, but this is a fundamental question that you must ask yourself if you're a voter. Is, do you want a president who is going to rewrite history? You know, I saw in Matt Walsh's movie, Am I Racist? I would highly recommend you go watch that movie. Very, very funny. Am I Racist by Matt Walsh. But he jokingly made a segment in the movie about renaming the Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument, and people signed up for it, guys. And you know what? I'm willing to bet that a large part of the country, maybe half, would be willing to do that. They want to rewrite history. They want to erase history. They want to change the way we teach about this country, you know? And the idea that you cannot be a flawed human being and still do things that are productive and still do great things that should be recognized, you know, if that was the case, then none of us would be able to do anything that should be recognized. None of us. We are all imperfect. We are all flawed. You know, and Kamala talks about this moral compass, right? And my question is, what is the moral compass? You know, we're gonna get into this more on Wednesday with our guest Mark Rogers. But the question is, what is the moral compass? You know, conservatism, the reason you're watching this show, if you're falling to the conservative camp, if you fall in the center or on the right, is because you hold strong to a few values, right? You believe that human beings have agency. You believe that human beings have certain unalienable rights endowed by their creator, right? Not by government, but by their creator, given them by their creator. The right to free speech, the right to build a life, the right to pursue happiness. These are rights that the government does not give us. They are rights that we inherently have. And so Kamala Harris, and we're going to get more into this on Wednesday with Mark Rogers, but the party that you're voting against on the Democrat side is a party that wants to take away fundamental rights in order for safety or security, right? They want to limit misinformation. They want to shut down the ability of you to decipher what's true and what's not. They want to be the ones, they want to be the arbiters of truth. They want to decide what's true and what's not. That's a very dangerous game. It's a very scary game. We've already seen it in the EU with some of the speech limits in the UK especially, where people are going to prison for posting memes. Canada, hate speech laws are running rampant. These are anti-human laws. They are anti, really, what it means to be human. All right? And they should be fought back against. They should be vehemently opposed. All right? And that's what we do on the show. You know, my show is about saving the republic. Day by day, story by story, we talk about things that are meant to save our republic, to carry forth the torch of the republic that these men and others throughout history have set forth and have carried forth. That's what we do here. All right? But the point of this show, and we have one more story we're going to get into, but I want to keep it short and sweet, is to vote. You guys need to vote. All right? I need to vote. We all need to vote, because it's not just about higher taxes, lower taxes. It's not just about maybe an extra social program here, maybe one less here. This is about a fundamental difference in ideology. This is about a fundamental difference in the way that we view America. This is a fundamental difference in the way we view humanity, right? Should human beings have the ability to say no to things they don't want to do? Should we have the ability to speak our minds even when it makes people uncomfortable? Should we have the ability to seek truth for ourselves, or should we have a government tell us what's true and what's not? Orwellian, guys. This is Orwellian. All right. And so the last story of today is one from Virginia. I spoke on this a little bit, but Virginia is getting some criticism, especially Glenn Youngkin, the governor, for removing non-citizens from voter rolls. All right. California just banned voter ID, and now we have Jake Tapper questioning the governor of Virginia for removing non-citizens from voter rolls. Check this out.
90-day period. Well, why not just honor that 90-day period?
Well, let me just first begin. It's anything but a purging program. It begins with someone identifying themselves as a non-citizen. And I guess I would posit back to you, do you think that non-citizens, when they've self-identified as a non-citizen, should stay on the voter roll and therefore be in a position to potentially vote in a presidential election?
I don't think any non-citizen should vote. How are they self-identifying? How does that happen?
They actually tick a box that says, I am a non-citizen, or they do not answer the question that they are a citizen, and therefore they self-identify that they are not a citizen in the United States of America. And this is why this is so out of bounds in my mind from the Justice Department. They fully understand this. They understand the process starts with a person self-identifying as a non-citizen, and then there is a match with that person's name on the voter rolls, and they are given not just one, but up to 3 times in order to try to cure it. And this is why I find this to be a very, very unreal moment that is stunning, that they filed this suit 25 days before a presidential election, when in fact this has been going on in accordance with our Constitution, the federal Constitution, and state law since 2006.
So clearly, we have an administration, we have the Kamala Harris Biden administration fighting against Virginia for removing potential non-citizens from the voter rolls. All right, these people should not vote, pure and simple. It's very obvious. It's very straight up, black and white. But you have the leftist regime, this anti-American regime, saying these people should vote. Non-citizens should vote. Are you serious? I mean, are we a country? We don't have a country if not citizens are voting. You know, part of the reason that I say this a lot, but the point of my show, I hearken back to these guys, these men, the founding fathers. Why do they set forth this country? Jefferson wrote extensively about the importance of citizens, about the duty of citizens, of cultivating citizens, stakeholders, really, in a nation. Landowners, he wrote about. But we have a duty as a government to honor and to first serve and cater to the needs of citizens, not non-citizens, period. I think this one story alone should tell you why you should vote. Kamala Harris, let's just do a quick rundown to wrap up, wants to confiscate weapons, right? Mandatory buybacks. Wants to limit and shut down free speech if she disagrees with misinformation that she just gets to label willy-nilly. She wants to decriminalize illegal border crossings. She wants mass amnesty. She wants illegal citizens to vote, illegal aliens to vote. What are you voting for? All right, that's the question here. So we all need to vote. I am practicing what I preach. I need you guys to vote. We all need to vote. This is the most critical election of our lives. It's going to affect your lifestyle. As a merit shop worker, as a trades worker, this is going to affect you directly. It's going to affect your taxes. It's going to affect your bank account. It's going to affect the way you live your life. It's going to affect what you can do on social media. All right. It's going to affect what you can say and post. Potentially, it's going to affect the safety of your communities. It's going to affect the safety of your schools for your children. There's so many things at stake here. And so we all need to vote. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. I don't want to be too ominous here in my tone, but I'm just stating the stories because these are things we need to pay attention to. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel here. Grab your gear. Again, make sure you check out our other content offerings, weekly podcast with Joe Weasel and Jack Windsor, right here on Grab Your Gear YouTube. 4-part docuseries. The part 4 is about to come out very soon. The Union Hustle, exposing union fraud here in the States. Make sure you check that out. Again, that's available on YouTube at Grab Your Gear, on TikTok and Instagram at Grab Your Gear with clips. So make sure you follow all our socials. With that being said, leave us a comment down below what you thought in today's show and the election. Will President Trump win? What do you think about all this? Let us know down below, and I will see you all on the next show. Take care.